Jack was the kind of man people admired. At 42, he had built a solid career, drove a respectable car, owned a house in the suburbs, and provided everything his family needed. On the outside, he had it all. But inside, something was missing. His days were a blur of meetings, deadlines, and client calls. He left home before the sun rose and often returned when his kids were already asleep. His wife, Sarah, had grown used to the quiet dinners, the one-sided conversations, the birthdays he missed. Jack always promised, just this one project, then things will calm down. But they never did. In the silence of the night, Jack sometimes sat alone in his office, the glow of his laptop, the only light in the room. He would glance at the family photo on his desk, a picture taken 5 years ago at the beach. Everyone was smiling, holding hands, glowing under the sun. He couldn't remember the last time they went on a trip like that, or laughed like that, or felt like a real family. Jack wasn't a bad man. He was just lost, trapped in a rhythm that rewarded achievements over presence, success over connection. And slowly, without noticing, he had become a stranger in his own home. But life has a way of whispering when we least expect it. And for Jack, that whisper was about to become a wake-up call. Jack's days moved like clockwork. 6 a.m. alarm, coffee to go, commute, meetings, deadlines, fast lunch at his desk, more meetings, evening rush hour, takeout dinner, usually cold, a quick glance at emails in bed, sleep, repeat. He was efficient, productive, even praised at work. But at home, he was absent. His daughter had stopped asking him to read bedtime stories. His son no longer expected him at the games. Sarah, once full of warmth and laughter, had become quiet. Not angry, just distant. One night, after another late arrival, Jack stood in the hallway, watching his family through the half-closed kitchen door. They were eating dinner without him. Again. No one looked upset, just used to it, as if he were never part of the picture anymore. That night, lying awake in bed, Jack heard something unusual. It wasn't the hum of his phone or the ticking of the wall clock. It was silence. And in that silence, a voice, his own, asked quietly, "When was the last time you truly lived, truly felt anything?" Jack realized he couldn't remember the last time he laughed without thinking of time, or hugged Sarah without checking his watch. His life had become a checklist, and love, connection, family had been pushed to the margins. The truth hit him hard. He was succeeding in all the wrong ways. It happened on a Tuesday night. Jack came home early, by accident really. A canceled meeting. Traffic was light for once. When he stepped through the door, the house was filled with laughter. His kids were chasing each other around the living room. Sarah was making popcorn. They didn't see him at first. And for a moment, Jack just watched. It was like looking into a world he had forgotten existed. When Sarah turned and saw him, surprise flickered across her face. "You're home early," she said. Not coldly, just surprised. He smiled weakly. "Yeah, thought I'd catch dinner for once." They all sat down. It was awkward at first, like he was a guest at his own table. But as the kids chattered and Sarah shared stories, Jack began to soften. He listened. He laughed. He reached for his daughter's hand, and she didn't pull away. Later that night, as he tucked his daughter into bed, a ritual long forgotten, she whispered, "Are you going away again tomorrow?" Jack paused, looked into her eyes. "No, sweetheart, I'm staying." And something shifted inside him. Not because of guilt, not because of obligation, but because in that moment he remembered what it felt like to be part of something real, something worth more than paychecks and promotions. That night, Jack wrote a leave request. 2 weeks off, no emails, no meetings, just time. It wasn't a sudden rebellion. It was an acknowledgement. He needed space to breathe, to reset, to return to what mattered. The next morning, Jack didn't rush. He sat at the breakfast table, sipping coffee slowly, watching sunlight touch Sarah's hair as she laughed at something their son said. He wasn't in a hurry to be anywhere but here. He started doing school drop-offs, joined a weekend soccer match, helped Sarah with groceries. At first, the family seemed unsure, waiting for the old Jack to disappear again. But this time, he stayed. He turned off work notifications, let calls go to voicemail, picked up his guitar after years, read books that had been gathering dust, and slowly, the tension in his shoulders faded. The house began to feel like home again, not a place to sleep, but a place to be. Jack didn't fill the space with grand gestures. He filled it with presence, with listening, with showing up. Sarah noticed. She didn't say much at first, but one night, she reached for his hand at dinner and smiled. A small act, but it said everything. Jack realized that stopping didn't make him less. It made him whole. The first few days of pausing were awkward. Jack's mind kept drifting back to work. What was he missing? What if everything fell apart without him? But soon, those thoughts faded, and in their place came something deeper. He began journaling each night, 3 things he was grateful for. At first, the entries were simple: family dinner, sunset with Sarah, kids' laughter. But those words became anchors, pulling him back to the present. He stopped measuring days by tasks completed. He measured them by smiles shared, by hugs given, by the warmth he felt when his son asked, "Dad, can you come to my game this weekend?" The Jack who once felt empty inside now felt full. He realized his value wasn't in what he achieved, but in how he lived. The emotions he had pushed aside, love, joy, vulnerability, returned, and with them, clarity. He didn't need to do more. He needed to feel more. Months later, Jack sat by the window watching his kids play in the yard. Rain fell gently and laughter filled the air. He hadn't gone back to his high-pressure job. Instead, he chose a quieter role, less pay, less prestige, but more time, more life. He cooked dinner now, helped with homework, took weekend hikes. The man who once raced against time was now walking beside him. One evening, as the family gathered for a movie, his daughter curled into his lap and said, "You're not a shadow anymore." Jack smiled, tears welling in his eyes. He hadn't lost himself. He had found a better version, one who understood that success isn't about how high you climb, but how present you are on the journey. In the end, Jack didn't walk away from life. He walked toward it, and with every step, he whispered a truth that had changed everything. Sometimes you need to pause to realize what truly matters.